Hi, I'm Hardscape Nate with Rosetta Hardscapes. Welcome to another quick tip install video where today we're going to be building the Belvedere Fire Pit. As you can see here, we've got our pallet, our wall units, and our coping already on it. I've got our insert set off to the side here. We're going to be building around that as the template. We've got a couple of tools here. Our base is already prepped and set and level, so all we need is a couple of levels. We've got our broom to sweep off any of the material on top as we go to put the next course, a mallet for minor adjustments, and we've got our quick set super fast adhesive from Probst so that we can glue this all together. I'm going to also be showing you how to use our tech guide and the template that's in there to make your life a lot easier as we go to build this out. Let's get started. All right, so as we get to digging in, I've down stacked all of our coping units, set them off to the side for now so that I have access to the wall block. Going back to our tech guide, right in here, it has the layout or the schematic to follow for building out the Belvedere Fire Pit, as we're going to be utilizing all 3 lengths of the 6-inch height and all 3 lengths of the 3-inch height blocks that go with that whole Belvedere system. So in here, you'll notice that they're lettered and color coded to follow through. So we're going to start like we have in all of our fire pits. We're going to use this ring as kind of our guide for our circumference and what we need to follow. Noting that on the Belvedere Fire Pit, because we have the coping, we need to make sure that we leave at least a 2-inch air gap so that when we go to set our insert back into the fire pit, that this sits on the inside of the block, so the coping units set over the top so that they're not being pinched in between the block and the coping unit. This will actually sit completely inside of the fire pit. That gives us a chance to keep the internal flame from touching any of the block. So we're going to start with our B. So our 6-inch unit. And again, we may have some adjustments as we go around. We're going to get our first course in. So it goes right out of the gate with a B and an A, both 6-inch units. And again, I'm just making sure, keeping approximately that 2-inch gap, getting the connection on the front. They have a wedge taper, so as we move around, we have to adjust them. But this first course is just getting it set so that we can make sure that we've got that perfect outline going around and we can make minor adjustments once we've reconnected. So as you can see, we got a nice connection there coming back through. And the beauty of the texture to Belvedere is it allows for a little bit of play. The nice rough outcropped texture will help hide some of those movements or adjustments that you may need to make. So we've got this laid out. We've come across square. So now we can start working onto the second course. I'm going to sweep off the top. We're going to test fit the second course, make sure there's no issues in height or adjustments that we need to make before we do any gluing. Test fit it, pull it down, glue it, and we'll move on to the next course. All right, so now we're starting into our second course. I've just installed 2 units, so I filled in a gap here. This is just a quick tip kind of trick here. So we had a gap space where it dropped down in elevation. So I brought it up and it gives me a high point. So now as I start working my block for my second course, this gives me a starting point to make sure that I have the right separation or the right gap spacing. So second course starting here. So we're gonna have to make a couple of adjustments as we come around. Again, we're getting this course now that is at the height of our insert. We wanna make sure that we're just to the back side of it so that that insert sits just inside. So again, checking my spacing on the back side of this insert, making sure I'm sitting tight. Perfect. Now I can continue on knowing that I've got this edge that I can be working off of. We want to make sure, again, that we're coming up vertical with our units. So if you're building this by yourself, pretty easy to keep track of, but as you're going through, if you've got a second guy, being able to holler out which piece is coming next makes building this Belvedere kit a breeze. All right, so we have our second course up. We've just got the final touches of a few top pieces here, and then our coping units can go on. Again, going through and adjusting as you come through with these subsequent courses, having to make some minor adjustments to your pieces just to make sure that you're lined up and you've got that even space is going to be crucial. So we're going to finish up with our final top blocks. So as you can see, we just got to make a couple adjustments, and this is why we test fit our way up before automatically gluing, as we just need to go through and make a few minor adjustments. Sweep that off. And now we'll be able to set our coping units. So again, following the schematic from the tech guide, make your life easy, just start in one spot. I'm gonna work off of my big A unit here. We're just reversing back and forth from sizes. Again, you can see here, I wanna make sure that I'm setting my coping unit over the top of the ring. We don't want it pinched in between. All right, so it's all set to go. We finished up by putting our adhesive in. We've reset the caps. We've got that 2-inch air gap. That insert sits below the caps, not in between the cap and the wall. All that's left to do, those homeowners throw some wood in there, they get their s'mores going, and they're gonna love this Belvedere fire pit. Thank you for joining me on this quick tip install video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.